Hi, welcome back to my orchid life. If this is your first time here, I appreciate you clicking on the video to see what's going on. If you've been here before, welcome back. So today I am going to try to replicate an experiment that Jeff from Tropical Plants at 53 degrees north did on his Tradescantia to try to propagate roots. So I'm going to try to replicate that as best as I can. Now Jeff does grow in a greenhouse. I grow in my living room primarily. I do have a couple of plants in other places of the home, but primarily I grow in my living room. And the ambient temperature is anywhere between 72, 76 right now, with it being cooler. I'm not going to say cold yet in Colorado. It is getting cooler. The days are still fluctuating between 59 is a high, and then the next day it could be 80 as a high. So it's still kind of figuring out if it's winter here or not. It has not snowed, knock on wood. Let me knock on my head real quick. If I sound a little weird, I did have some dental work done yesterday and my mouth is still a little bit swollen, but I think we'll be okay. So what I'm using is small perlite, small fir bark, pre-moistened sphagnum moss, the New Zealand, and I'm going to use charcoal. Now Jeff used, I believe, cocoa peat or cocoa husk as his fourth media. However, I don't have any of it prepared at the moment, so I'm just going to try it with the charcoal. Now in Jeff's experiment, the one that was put in the perlite created the best roots, and then after that the moss, and then I think the cocoa husk and the bark were kind of the same, but the best root production was from the perlite. I'm hoping that one of these media produce roots really on all of them so I can put them in, but I just want to see if I can do it as well. And then this way, anyone can do it. Like I said, he grows in a greenhouse and I grow in my home. So if I can get the same results as him or similar, then pretty much regardless of where you grow, you can also do this with your plants. He did it with the Tradescantia zebrina, and let me just real quick see if we can show you mine. There are mine hanging up there. They are getting leggy again. I will have to cut them back, but what I do is when I cut them back, I just stick it to the top to make a bushier plant. So if you hear the dogs barking occasionally, I have the windows open. One is outside, the other two are inside. And as you know, dogs go, if one is barking, they all have to bark, whether they know what they're barking at or not. Sometimes I think dogs are talking to each other, but who knows? Anywho, let me move this over to the side, and I'm going to show you the Tradescantia that I am going to use the experiment with. So this is my little sad Tradescantia Nanouk. So I will post a picture and show you what this lovely lady looked like a couple of months ago. She was nice and bushy and full and just absolutely gorgeous. Now the thing I love about this Tradescantia is the pink, and then it looks like someone took a paintbrush and just painted in the green striations there, as well as if you look on the back of the leaf, you've got, let me do this one's a prettier one, you've got these nice pink in the back as well. And her flowers, I mean, they're cute. They're white with little yellow centers. When there's a lot of them, it's really pretty. If it's just one or two, you hardly notice them. But my main thing in wanting to save her is, of course, I just love the foliage. And I could, if I can't save her, I can always buy another one. But why buy one if you can propagate one? Saving money. So what I will do is, I've got my fiskars that have been sterilized. Theoretically, each place where there is a leaf can produce roots. So I don't have much to choose from, so I'm just going to initially cut this one off here, or break it off here. And let's see, will she fit in there like that? Oh, she will. Okay, so we'll lay her in the moss. Actually, she's the biggest piece, so I'm going to lay her actually in the perlite here. Let's see, let me cut some of this part right here off so that I can get her in a little bit better. All right, so there is one. And then I'm going to put both of these pieces in the moss. Let me cut this back a little bit more. I'm just going to put both of those in the fir bark, sorry. I'm gonna try with this one. I don't know if this one's gonna do anything. Let me just take all the dead off of there. And we'll set that piece over here with that one in the moss. And let's see, we've got two, we've got two, we've got two. So we've got two in all of them, but I do have one more piece here. So this one here, I think I'm just going to pot it. I'll take these leaves off, and then I'm just gonna pot it in directly into soil, see if I can't get it to take off on its own, and then I'll have possibly another piece that I can put in, because the end game, if I can get these to root, is put them all into a smaller pot, obviously, because now this pot is going to be way too huge, and start her over. We'll do that one in there too, and then we've got one more nice big juicy piece we'll use as well. So, all right, and then what I'm going to do, let me grab my water real quick so I had it a little bit closer. So I do have my little spray bottle. So what I'm going to do initially is I'm just going to spray everything, especially with it being this early in the day. These leaves will dry out, and then from there on I will just add a little bit of water and make sure I keep everything nice and moist for the next few weeks, and we'll see. Now with Geoff's experiment, I think he had root growth within 2 weeks. So we will see if I can manage the same thing, or if mine might take a little bit longer because I don't have the added humidity that you have when you're growing in a greenhouse. Even if it's not high, it's, I believe, still gonna be higher than what I have in my home, because again, with the heat on and off, my humidity fluctuates between, I don't know, 25–40%. It's usually more on the lower end than the higher end. Now with the perlite, I am doing a little bit more so that it can absorb. All right, so there is what we are going to be doing. So we have 2 in the charcoal. We have 2 cuttings in our perlite, 2 cuttings in our fir bark, and 2 cuttings in our moss. And like I said, these leaves will dry out because I will keep an eye on it, but where it's gonna sit underneath a ceiling fan for the day to kind of help dry out the leaves. And then tonight I'll double check all of the media to make sure that the fan didn't dry it out. And if it did, I will obviously add a little bit more water. So we will check on our cuttings here in 2 weeks just to see if I've got roots growing. I will try not to mess with them for 2 weeks. And where I'm going to put them is in the same room I have my Phalaenopsis that I'm doing the experiment with, cooling them down at night, and hopefully that doesn't affect this. If I don't get any roots off of these, I can always replace it in the spring. I don't want to, but I can. All right, well with that, guys, let me know what your predictions are. If you feel like they'll all root, if in Geoff's experiment the perlite actually gave the best roots, and how do you propagate your plants? Not just Tradescantia, but just your house plants in general. Leave it in the comments down below so that we can all learn from that. And I hope everyone has a wonderful week, and we will see you on the next one.